This is probably the worst actual thing I ever did, and it was legal. And the police officers knew I was doing it. I mean, they didn't like it, but they knew I was doing it. But I do forget that there are two towns involved. So in Lawrence, I discovered this when I was in a program. So I have a Nicorette and I'm not feeling too good with the jaw um, or speech. Anyway, so I figured out this K2 stuff was sold at stores when I was about 19, living in Lawrence out of that rooming house. There was somebody upstairs who ended up smoking it, and I had a pot dealer through Catherine, so I didn't smoke the stuff at the time, but I knew what store sold it. When I became homeless in Lowell, Massachusetts, things were alcohol, alcohol, alcohol. But there was some stores that popped up with K2, and this white gorilla man and all the alcoholics I hanged out with started picking up this K2. So I befriended all but one store. Somebody fucked up one store for me, and I started selling their stuff. The only problem is people usually only wanted to make $3 and then go find somebody who had the stuff, and they didn't want to buy a $10 bag at the store. What was so stupid, because for $10, I think it was 4 grams. I can't even remember. I don't remember, but anyways, but if you bought a joint for $3, you got like a half a gram, maybe a gram if you're lucky. And nobody sold grams of joints, no. Half a gram. Some people made pinners to make a lot of money. Everybody was doing this on the streets, so I befriended the stores. Only one problem. Lowell actually has a good code enforcement police force. They do. They are pretty strict and they do shut this stuff down. So Lowell shut it down within about a year from the stores, and that shut me down. There was other people selling it, but that shut me down. But there was one benefit. I'm a Lawrence kid. I know my way around Lawrence, and for some reason, nobody ever tried to stab or kill me. I would never be able to be homeless in Lawrence unless I was drunk or high. No fucking way. 2 minutes danger all around me. I did have one kid from the program that literally moved into a house on Social Security. I'm not even kidding. This was somebody who wasn't even disabled on Social Security living in a house. But luckily, he housed me for a while I was in Lawrence. For a bag of K2 from the store. That was the deal. I forgot to mention that part. I went back to Lowell with a K2 addict who actually, God bless his soul, great kid actually, but he passed away in a hallway a couple of years ago, or 8 years over, right before I moved up here. I haven't talked to him in about a year when it happened, so I felt pretty bad. Anyways, this kid named Gabi, I went back to Lowell, and I brought people up to the store in Lawrence to buy. So I was the big supplier. What they did, it was still legal in Lawrence. The cops were allowing it. Police officers weren't shutting down the stores while knowing it. But the cops in Lawrence have a different way of doing things when it does become illegal. For one thing, when it became illegal and I stopped selling it, I noticed that the stores were still selling it in Lawrence for quite a long time, even though it was clearly illegal all over Massachusetts and New Hampshire now. Because the police officers had a total different way to enforce their laws there. They clean up on money. You clean up on fines in Lawrence. Even if you're just like opening boxes for a store, they'll clean you up for fines. That's their way. If you're anywhere near a store that's doing something they're not supposed to, boom. I didn't know this. I didn't know that there was a guy selling heroin on the other side of the store until later. I was just trying to open boxes in the beginning, and I caught a charge for literally just opening boxes for this Smoke Valley store. Uh, Too bad, too. I love that store to death. I really did. They fed me good. But I found out later because these people were selling heroin around the corner, they were popping everybody for fines for money because they thought some of these stores might be allowing this. But I found out later it might have been true. The store owner did have some talks with me, and they weren't exactly good talks. Uh, K2 is legal. That's the only thing I would ever do for him, really. He asked me about a lot of like Percocets and things, and nope. I'm sorry, no, I'm good with that shit. But basically, the deal was is that the police officers would allow these things to happen through these stores as long as they could pop the people around the store and try to catch them with more charges in their pockets. A lot of times it was all about money, it seemed like. I have no idea, though. I got the hell out of that town. That was a dangerous town. I don't know. It must have been all the drinking because the liquor store know me, and there was a guy who said if you know the right number, the liquor store would sell you heroin too. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, just give me $20. I need my fix. He goes, I got the hustle with you. I know whatever. I'm like, no, you didn't. I know the store owner that sells K2, and I made the money. But anyways, you're sick. Here you go. He went into the liquor store. Now he had to get me a bottle too, so he got me my bottle of Fireball and Nip. But he really came out with his own drugs, a bag of heroin in a liquor store, because he knew a number, secret code. What the fuck is? Oh my god! I mean, that was something. That was something to learn, and that's why as soon as Gabi and his mother offered me to go down the Lowell, I took it. But there was a problem. I moved in with his mother just for a couple days, so that wasn't going to work out. But I took God's advice and I went. And God really did something amazing that day. A guy that I knew from Lowell prior. Now, I've been gone for 2 years, wandering around other towns, going from shelter to shelter. And I run into this Kenny kid who literally showed me how to survive in Lowell originally and literally introduced me to like a lot of stuff, a lot of not illegal stuff, just ways of dealing with craziness that has to do with homeless life, different tent city stuff, people getting murdered. It was all fucked up crazy. But he kind of helped me navigate it without getting hurt. And because he knew Shannon and I was able to befriend Shannon, nobody fucked with me. Somebody who bumps a giant white gorilla that bumps his head on doorways and stuff. This guy was oof, and he was completely nuts. It wasn't that he was big; it's that nobody knew when he would just like if you came up yelling at me, he might just lose it. It just was like no, we stay calm over here. Yes, we don't get Shannon upset. Remember that. So it worked out pretty good to have those two people. What was actually very surprising, very oh my God, Kenny's probably dead now. He was going through liver failure when I left. Oh, fuck. Anyways, yeah. So Kenny happened to be a friend of Gabi's mother, but none of us knew this. And when I came back from Lawrence, he was already there and stopped by on the deck. So I go out for a cigarette, and we're looking at each other. It's been a couple of years. I'm like, I know you. He says, yeah, I know you, don't I? I go, yeah. Kenny, Zach, yeah. Oh, shit. How the fuck did this happen? What are you doing in this house? I said, I don't know. I was just invited out of nowhere, said I was a good kid and I should come. Apparently, these two people think I'm a great guy and I should come live with them. I don't know why. I didn't ask them. And then I said no, and they begged me, and that must have been God calling me, so I went. Kenny was like, what? I don't stay here either. I haven't seen, I'm a high school buddy of his mother's, and I haven't seen her in years. I said, oh, really? Wow. After a couple days, and we both slept there, the kid Gabi from Lawrence, my old buddy from Lowell, who now I'm in Lowell, and me, and his best friend and her husband is both in her own private room. After a couple days, me and Kenny get lost. And things seem to work out halfway okay. The alcohol was not a good idea. Treating myself, I had to face this shaking and the falling down. I mean, the people when I was homeless, they saw me drinking, but when I wasn't drinking, I was bad. My body was shitty if I wasn't on Ativan, the right type of weed. There was times where the weed made me worse. Nobody knew what was going on, but they knew that alcohol made it go away. We all understood that. And the alcoholics that shook from alcohol just figured I was one of them. So that worked out to my favor with the alcohol. Everybody figured I was just going through alcohol withdrawal, so they were handing me fucking beer. Here, kid, you don't look so good. Here you go. Thank you. How much you have to drink? Oh, I don't drink. You look like you're withdrawing. You're shaking. Yeah, I haven't drinking in 3 months, but thank you. I need this right now. Nobody understood what the hell was going on with me. But they knew that it looked like alcohol withdrawal. And when I tried Triliptal or any alcohol withdrawal medications, it worked great, even as a child. And now I understand why the Xanax worked so good as a child. Um, I mean, when I was a child, I knew it was working good, and I made the mistake of trying to figure it out for myself, why it worked in my nervous system. I spoke up to doctors too. I just didn't get anywhere with my parents or doctors.